We have some breaking news, and the former US President Donald Trump is claiming his home has been raided by the FBI. According to Mr. Trump, FBI agents searched his MarALargo residence in Palm Beach, Florida. The former president has expressed his anger at the raid, and in a statement he said it is prosecutorial misconduct, the weaponisation of the justice system, and an attack by the radical left Democrats who desperately don't want me to run for president in 2024. He goes on to say such an assault could only take place in broken third world countries. Sadly, America has now become one of those countries, corrupt at a level not seen before. So that just in from the former President Donald Trump.
What do I have an echo? I got...
We all know the U.S. economy is in bad shape, and for a measure of how bad it's gotten, check this out. Joe Biden doesn't even know how to pronounce the word economy or the word for those who study it, economist, anymore.
7 Nobel laureates in economy, on the economists, and the economics, I should say.
Economics.
Your guess is as good as mine there, really. He's also not too clear, old Joe Biden, on what his job and role is in all of this.
You know, I know most families are focused on just putting 3 meals on the table, taking care of their kids and paying their bills. Helping you do that is my job. That's a president's job as well.
Okay, hang on, Mr. President. If it's your job and it's the president's job as well, then kind of, I don't know, got this question in my head. Who's actually...
If you've been following the news, you couldn't have possibly missed the big story from Taiwan. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited the island. China responded with military drills. It fired ballistic missiles towards Taiwan and repeatedly rehearsed the assault of Taiwan. When the world protested, China turned around and said, this is Beijing's internal matter. But is it? What explains China's obsession with Taiwan? We'll discuss on this episode of Gravitas Plus. Hello, I'm Palki Sharma Upadhyay, and this is Taiwan. It is an island in the South China Sea. It is around 36,000 square kilometers. Taiwan is roughly 161 kilometers from mainland China. The two are separated by the Taiwan Strait. Zoom out and you will see the Philippines, South Korea, Brunei, Vietnam and Japan, all of them a stone's throw away from Taiwan. So why is it only China that is obsessed with this little island? Taiwan first appeared in Chinese records during the Zhou dynasty. The emperor had sent an expedition and the explorer spotted Taiwan. This is China's side of the story. In the 1600s, Taiwan became a Dutch colony. Portuguese sailors called Taiwan Ilha Formosa, meaning beautiful island. The Dutch rule lasted from 1624 to 1661. In 1683, Taiwan came under China. This was during the Qing dynasty. In the years that followed, a lot of Chinese migrated to Taiwan. They were mostly Hakka Chinese. This Chinese rule lasted till 1895 because in 1895, China lost the first Sino-Japanese war. Taiwan had to be given away to Japan. Decades later, when Japan lost the Second World War, Taiwan was up for grabs again and China was on the winning side. Then it was called the Republic of China, or ROC. So the ROC jumped at the idea of controlling Taiwan. It had the blessings of the US and Britain. But the Republic of China, or ROC, was a mess. It was a military dictatorship. Chiang Kai-shek was its leader. He led a nationalist party called the Kuomintang. He ruled China with an iron fist. Under him, there was unrest, unhappiness, and a civil war. It was at this time that communist leader Mao Zedong became increasingly popular. His Red Army fought Chiang's party. Mao won. In 1949, he established the People's Republic of China, or the PRC. Chiang fled to Taiwan. The island had a subtropical climate, abundant resources, and advanced infrastructure built by the Japanese. Also, Taiwan was free of communist influence. And Chiang did not move to Taiwan alone. Along with him moved 1.5 million people. The ROC's Air Force, artifacts from the National Palace Museum, the National Central Library, the National Central Museum, the Beijing Library, fuel and ammunition, radio stations, boats, clothes, cars, wood, some 774 boxes of gold. Basically, Chiang took all that he could take from China. He established a government in exile in Taiwan, and then he declared martial law. By the 1950s, there were two Chinas.
That's what they-
Chiang's military
that's the
dictatorship
goal.
in Taiwan,
That's the
called the
objective.
ROC, or the Republic of China, and Mao's Communist China, called the PRC, or the People's Republic of China.
Yeah.
ROC, PRC. Both claimed to be the real China. A battle for international recognition and legitimacy followed. Taiwan held the ROC's seat at the United Nations. Western countries recognized Taiwan as the only China. In 1954, the first Taiwan Strait crisis broke out. Here's what happened. Chiang put thousands of troops on two Taiwanese islands, Kinmen and Matsu. Mao's China responded by bombing these islands. 4 years later, another crisis broke out. Mao's men again bombed Kinmen and Matsu. They wanted to dislodge the ROC troops, Chiang's troops. Amid this military tension, Taiwan's economy grew. Between 1960 and 1980, Taiwan saw an economic boom. Workers were exploited. There was military rule. Exports grew. This was the era of Made in Taiwan. But soon Taiwan's luck ran out. You see, the Cold War was bubbling, and Mao's China became strategically important to the US. And with American priorities, it seemed like the world's priorities had changed too. In 1971, the
I just want to add some context to that little piece right there, and that is that, yes, the US strategically needed China in the mix, but also understand that within the US, there was a divide on that decision. Not everybody agreed with bringing China into the fold, but this is where we start to understand that the United States government has a half 50% communist agenda, and the other half is sort of the American ideals that we seem to covet, right? With the American traditionalist. So that's kind of what you need to understand about this whole China-Russia Cold War thing that's going on. It's very complex, and it's very, very mixed, because as the more you dig in, I read a lot of history about this, man. The more you go back in time and look into the history about what was going on in the world at that time, even within the agencies that were working, there was also a divide within the agencies. So there was a lot of rogue elements within our government, and still to this day there's a lot of rogue elements in our government, right? So you need to study history and understand what's going on. So when you paint America with one broad brush and say, well, this is America, you're wrong. You don't know what's going on. There's a lot of depth and complicated things that are involved with the psychology of what America is today. And so once you understand that, you begin to kind of see a better picture of what's playing out on a global stage. And it's not just in America, it's around the world. So understand that. Okay? Let's continue.
The United Nations chose to recognize Beijing as the real China. They dumped Taiwan. Chiang Kai-shek died in 1975. 1 year later, Mao Zedong died too. Deng Xiaoping became the leader of China. He began opening China to the world. Over the next 10 years, relations improved between China and Taiwan. People were allowed to visit families on either side. Trade across the strait also improved. But as economic ties deepened, so did cultural divisions. They became worse. People in Taiwan began identifying as Taiwanese, not Chinese. A meeting was held in Hong Kong in 1992. The two sides, Beijing and Taipei, agreed on one China. But the problem is, it was a verbal consensus, and its interpretation varied. First, let me tell you the Chinese Communist Party's version. One China means the two sides of the strait belong to one China, and this China is ruled by Beijing, and they'll work together to seek national reunification. This is Beijing's view. But Taiwan understood it differently. Also remember, while China is ruled by the Communist Party, Taiwan is an actual democracy with multiple parties. So in the year 2000, Taiwan elected Chen Shui-bian as its president. Now, he was from the Democratic People's Party, and this party openly backed Taiwanese independence. China was not prepared for this surprise. So Beijing passed a new law, the anti-secession law. It basically said that China could use force to keep Taiwan. In 2014, tens of thousands of students gathered in front of the Taiwanese parliament. They began protesting the ratification of a trade agreement with China. The students cried, "We demand transparency because Taiwan is a democracy." This was the start of what's called the Sunflower Movement. And this was the first open protest against China. It was a new dawn for Taiwan. But China held on to its reunification demand. In 2013, Xi Jinping became president. He revealed his China dream. He wanted to revive China's historical glory. Xi's pitch for Taiwan hinges on the idea of one country, two systems. Taiwan does not really buy China's promises. It wants to remain a democracy. And Tsai Ing-wen's election is proof. She campaigned on the idea of transparency. She's from the Democratic Progressive Party. She's critical of China. She was elected president in 2016 and re-elected in 2020 with a record 8.2 million votes. Today, Taiwan is a self-ruled island. It has its own flag, its own anthem, its own currency, its own institutions. Taiwan's per capita GDP is more than $33,000. It is a chip superpower, the world's chip factory.
That's why
But Taiwan's
Nancy
legal
Pelosi
status
went.
is still unclear. Only 14 countries recognize Taiwan. China sees Taiwan as a renegade province, a breakaway province. Xi Jinping says Taiwan must be and will be reunited with China. You could say the whole purpose of his regime is what he calls the great rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, the unification of Taiwan. And Xi wants this done by 2049. Because that is when the People's Republic of China will celebrate its 100th anniversary, 2049. And Xi wants to do what Mao could not, what neither Deng Xiaoping nor Hu Jintao could do. He wants to be China's greatest leader, and for that, he must take Taiwan. Under Xi Jinping, China has forced countries to shun Taiwan, to stick to the one China policy, to set up embassies in China, not in Taiwan. Companies have been asked to list Taiwan as a part of China on their websites. What is China's basis for claiming Taiwan? One, history. Two, the 1992 consensus. But there's no real consensus on what the 1992 consensus really was.
All right, you could look this up yourself if you want to watch it. There's a lot of information about it. The whole Taiwan, China thing. Listen, guys, there's a lot going on right now. All right? A lot going on in the world right now. So you need to put into context what just happened, right? At MarALargo. All right? Those of you not tuning in, you probably don't know what's going on, but the FBI have raided MarALargo. Trump's not there, but the whole thing is, this is a political stunt because midterms are coming up, and you guys know that, right? I mean, you can see that clearly. I mean, they tried the whole Russia. They failed. Nothing. They tried to throw everything at the guy. Couldn't stick. They had no evidence. In fact, the guy who wrote the Steele dossier came out and said, you know what? It was hearsay. Boom. Gone. Then it comes out that the Clintons and the Obama administration were spying on him during his campaign before election, which is illegal. Boom, gone. Then the Hunter Biden laptop comes out, and then they try to go after Project Veritas. This is all factual stuff. You can look this up. I'm not making this up. It's in your face. But you see what happens to people is they get into a tribal mindset, and they don't want facts. They don't want to look at what's playing out globally, right? Either that, there's two reasons why people don't want to see stuff, right? Reason number one is you're either a part of the thing that's playing out, you're involved with it, right? Or you're just naive and you live in a fantasy land where you think that somehow you're going to be protected. Folks, what's coming right now in the world, you better be prepared. You better be so prepared for what's coming. Because what's coming, I don't care where you look, all the signs are there, right? We've been warned. We need to prepare for food shortages. They have advertisements on the TV in New York right now. In New York City, they're advertising how to prepare for a nuclear attack. The last time such a thing was on the TV was in the 1950s and 60s, going up into the 80s. I think the latest was probably the early 80s. They're putting it on TV again, telling you in case of a biological attack or a... look at it. Type in New York City advertise nuclear attack, and it'll come up. You'll see it. They're advertising all this stuff. They've been telling us for months that food shortages are coming all over the world, that more diseases are going to start coming out, that more people are going to have to get vaccines. But that all this stuff is not it in your face. They're telling us every day. They just raid this guy's house in an effort because midterm elections coming up. So they're trying to find something to stick to this man. and it not sticking. Everything they throw at this man, it not sticking. Listen, we're going through some really tough times right now on planet Earth, man. And a lot of innocent people gonna be attacked and treated in such a way. And a lot of stuff is gonna start coming at you that have nothing to do with you. Trust me, I'm going through it myself. You could be minding your business, trying to build your life, and stuff just coming at you to try and destroy you. While you trying to build your life and build your success and build your dream, whatever it is you're working on, things gonna come at you to try and pull you down. Because that's the way, that's the nature of this world we live in, right? But stay focused on whatever it is you're doing. Prepare yourself. You need to be physically fit. You need to be exercising and keeping yourself fit, because what is coming, people, you need to be fit. You need to know how to grow food, how to preserve food. You need to learn how to work with the people in your community. When more power outages start coming and flooding start coming and all these things start playing off, we're going to have to learn how to defend ourselves. You guys, don't take this stuff for granted, man. We live in comfortable now, we live in nice now, but be prepared for what's coming. It's slowly like a pot with a frog inside the pot and the boiling water turning up slowly. Prepare yourself mentally and spiritually. I'm telling you right now, I know I'm not there spiritually, because sometimes I just still lose my mind. My wife says something, 2 twos, I snap, I go off. I ready to bring down the house. And that's something I need to work on. I need to work on myself. I don't know that already. So that's why I have to kind of cool myself, meditate, whatever the case I have to do. Pray, find some solace within myself, because I know what is about to happen on this planet. It's going to ramp up and it's going to get real bad. And I already see it happening. I out on the road every day. And I listen to people every day. And I hear what people talking about. And I seeing what's going on. Look at what happened here with this man here. Right? Where they raid this man's house, FBI. Imagine that. They can't go and find all the people who trafficking people into this country. They can't stop all the crime that's going on in this country. They can't stop mass shootings. But somehow they're going by this man's house because the election coming up. FBI. So don't let people fool all you, man. This is all just theater. Right? Everything they try to throw at this man never stick.
Rile people up.
Oh, these are all supporters outside the house.
This is what that means.
They're protesting against the FBI. See the difference with American people? I want Trinidadians to see something. If any Trinidadians watching. Watch how American people, they come out by the hundreds and line up outside MarALargo house in Florida, protesting the FBI for raiding the man's house. Right? And they're real telling them things, they're telling them all kind of things. Because that's the American spirit. That's how we are here. We don't shut up. We don't sit down. We don't lie down. We don't afraid nobody here. We're ready to lose with life because we know the value of what freedom means. We know the value of it. You know the significance of it. And we know that if we don't fight today, the people who come in the future, they will pay the cake. Because you didn't have a spine and you couldn't stand up and you couldn't open your mouth. This is what I'm talking about, man. People, like they're sleeping, people not seeing what's going on. They're too busy fighting with their husband and doing all kind of stupidness and creating all kind of comments in their own house when they're not watching what's happening outside the house. And what is creeping, slowly creeping, working towards them. And pretty soon, nobody could run. Pretty soon, somebody will knock on your door and say, is either you take this thing, or is either you take this little barcode here, or is either you give up all your cash and take digital currency. I mean, listen, people, what coming is a serious thing. People have to stop this nonsense. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to say again. I really don't know what to say again. Look at that. People protesting and driving up and down the road, Trump sign and thing. And you see, I don't understand the big picture what's going on here, man. You all really interested in the big picture what's going on here. This is worldwide thing. This is not just America. This is happening in Sri Lanka, happening in Pakistan, happening in India. And it is a global coordinated effort that is playing out. You all need to understand what's happening. This is a global coordinated effort, right? Your president and prime minister are members of the World Economic Forum. They have been given instruction to sell off their country to China. That's why China going all over the world giving loans to everybody. Here, take money, take money, take money. Build infrastructure, do this, do that. China buying up everything. I'm sure your country in some way or the other belongs to China financially in some way. Dig into it. Do some research. So while all your countries fighting between left and right, or this party and that party, and distracted with that noise, your leaders have already sold out to a much larger objective that is happening right now. And everybody gonna pay the cake, unless you're very rich, unless you're a wealthy person and you buy yourself into some place where you could go and live away from all the population, but everybody else gonna have to pay the cake. When shortages start coming and resources hard to get, and what do you think gonna happen? Do the maths. People is like, all it doesn't see nothing, man. Everybody just, and it's good to have fun. It's good to enjoy life. It's good to be in the present and in the moment and enjoy it. You know why? Because you ain't guaranteed for tomorrow. So I live by that, and I appreciate that philosophy. But at the same time, you gotta open your eyes to what's going on, man. There's a small group of people who telling everybody else how to live life, and everybody walking around like they're not powerful. We are very powerful people, man. We are powerful beings. I don't know how people can't see it. We are very powerful, man. And the power comes in your mind. The power is in here. I tell people in my own life who I live with, I always tell them, your mindset does make the reality you live in. How you think about things, that's what you attract. How you see the world, that's what you become. Because you're seeing that all the time, and so you're putting that energy on you 24/7. And then your body will start to get sick because that inside you, and it affecting your health, right? That's the world we live in, folks. Our entire world we live in is in our heads. Sadhguru say it, every guru in India say it, the Bible say it, Quran say it, Gita say it, whatever your religion or background you come from, they all say the same thing. Your mind, you are the creator of what happens in terms of your health, in terms of how you see things, and in terms of how you deal with things. And we ain't perfect, but at least we should be trying. You understand? Doing the work, taking the discipline, taking the time to ask ourselves, am I living correctly? Am I doing what am I supposed to be doing? I don't know, man. Let's see what's going on in other news right now. Let's take a quick look on a quick browse. I'm kind of tired with this FBI thing. See what's going on here.
Half an hour, Donald Trump has claimed that the White House, the FBI, has in fact rather raided his house in MarALargo.
Did she just say
Let's
White
bring
House?
in his former Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, now live from the US. We're just getting this news to hand. Repeating, the FBI has apparently raided Donald Trump's house in MarALargo. What does all this mean? What is it related to, do we suspect?
Laura, yeah, it's amazing. I'm watching in real time here as well. Of course, I don't think it's been visually confirmed yet, but the New York Times is reporting that's happening. So let's assume, for sake of discussion, the president's tweet about the raid is accurate. My guess is, and it's an educated guess, that this is tied to the ongoing Department of Justice investigation that we learned a little bit about in the last couple of weeks. Several weeks ago, Mark Short, the chief of staff to the vice president and the vice president's chief lawyer, testified under subpoena to a criminal grand jury in Washington, D.C. Late last week, the chief White House lawyer, Pat Cipollone, also testified. My guess is that the Department of Justice saw or heard or found something in those investigations that gave rise to this raid today. Keep in mind, in order for the FBI under our system to do what they're doing, if they're doing it, they have to go to a judge and show probable cause that there's evidence of a crime there at MarALargo, and they cannot.
How many of you know what probable cause means? Right? I'm a very well read person. I read a lot, I listen to a lot, I research a lot. So what probable cause means is as simple as you go into the judge and you say, I have reason to believe X, Y, and Z is the case. The judge will then turn around and ask, what are your reasons? And you could say whatever you want. You could say, I suspect he took something and he hiding it. That's all you have to say. And the judge will take the paper and sign off on it and give it to you, and you go and do your raid. That is how a warrant is issued in today's society, which is, by the way, illegal. But they write some laws in the last, when George Bush was president, they're writing some laws where they could actually do that. The secret courts and all this stuff. This is all factual data. This information you could access. I am making this up. This is how they're slowly wiping away the Constitution. And not just in America, in every country you live in. And next thing you need to understand, people, is when you hear your government announce that there's a state of emergency, understand legally what that means. It means that that government now has suspended the Constitution on the books so that now they could arrest you if they want for whatever reason. Right? Do you understand what's going on, people? Educate yourselves. Understand your rights. Understand what the Constitution is in your country. Find people who could educate you. Go online and read if you have to. Know your rights. A lot of people are just allowing the government to come. They are nothing. They're people just like you. The government is people just like you. They just happen to be in a position of authority. And you put them there. You vote them there. And just because they change the rules or rewrite the rules or rewrite certain laws, you think they can arrest everybody in the country if everybody stand up to them? No, they can't. Because it's not, they are unjust laws. It have such a thing as unjust laws. Unjust laws means that it's unfair, it's malpractice. It does not even adhere to the constitutional or human rights. And this is what people need to understand and have power in themselves. To be empowered. Because if you don't know, that's where you lose. If you don't understand, that's where you are taken advantage of. And don't just be the government. When you go to buy a car, and you'll watch the whole car from top to bottom, looking for rust, looking for chassis, looking for the VIN number. You want to see if make sure everything is good, right? You do your due diligence. Because you don't want that person to rob you or to fool you about that vehicle you're buying, right? So you do your research. It's the same thing with the country you live in. Research your politics, policies, your constitution, whatever your rights are. Have a little cheat sheet or a little piece of paper written down with all the bullet points if you have to, so that you say, okay, these are the things that protect me. And this is what is unlawful. And then rally the people where you live, so that they are also educated and they also feel empowered to speak up and to say this is not right. You see, what is coming around the world, folks, you all don't understand yet. Everybody's still putting pieces of the puzzle together. Sometimes I just feel lonely, man, because it's like I's the only one watching everything play out for the last 2 decades. I've been watching step by step, inch by inch by inch, coming, chipping like a hammer and chisel, chipping. And I keep looking around and everybody just honky-dory like they're not seeing it. Don't let any other human being, I don't care what position of authority they're in, to tell you that you don't have a right to be a human yourself and that you don't have a right to be a human being. That's wrong. I will always stand up to that. Always. Till my last breath, I will stand up to that kind of behavior and attitude. Don't care who it's coming from. There's only one person I should be fearing, and that's God. The person who put me here and who will take me from here is who my only fear is with, not with a man. And that's all I try. That's the only message I'm trying to give to people, man. And believe me, it ain't easy being me. I get ridiculed all the time. I get made fun of all the time. I have been discarded by family and friends for speaking the way I speak, for expressing what I express, for seeing what I see, for talking bluntly and openly. And I'm willing to take that and fall on the sword 100,000 times because I'm strong in my conviction about what I'm seeing, clear as day. And I will face anybody. I'm not afraid to debate or challenge anybody. And I have nothing to hide because I know me. So anytime people are accusing me or trying to come at me, I just say, bring it. Bring it open in the court of law. Let's bring everything and air everything out. And let's see what is what. I love that. I love when somebody accuses me of something because I want all the evidence. I want everything presented and I want you to make your case. And that is the attitude all of us need to have with everything we do in life. Apart from being loving and caring and honorable and having integrity and doing what we gotta do, going about our day, living our lives, providing for families, having some fun, laughter, dancing, all that is included in it. But nothing to say we can't be all of it, right? We are human. So I want to give a quote by Simon Bolivar. Those of you who may not know who Simon Bolivar is, you could look him up. One of his most famous quotes he told people was that the people of a nation deserve the government that they get. I'm paraphrasing. It's not the exact term and words that he used, but to that effect. And what he meant by that is, if you already didn't understand what he meant, was that whatever you tolerate, whatever you allow in your country, in your life, in your circle, in your environment, you deserve it. Right? Because you're allowing it. You're allowing it. You're not setting any boundaries. You're just letting whatever come your way. And this is why I don't ever want to be in a position where I have to take a check from the government. I want to work for my money. I know people right now who will say, me, I want to do nothing, just give me a check and I go stay home. Well, partner, let me tell you the downside to that. When you don't work for your own money and you don't go out with your two hands and make for yourself and provide for yourself, and you have to depend on somebody in the government to give you a check, they have power and control over you. They are now your employer, right? That means if you can't fend for yourself, you can't go out and fish for yourself, and the government decide now that you not behaving yourself and you ain't doing what you're supposed to do and you have fallen in line, they could cut your check. They could stop the payment. And guess who have to be obedient? Like a child. I wasn't raised that way. Thank God I come from a bloodline and a family that fight to have a voice and to speak up. That's my grandfather back there. Right? I come from that. Warrior spirit, warrior caste. I don't want anybody to control, even my current job. I don't want them to control and tell me what to do. I have a skill. If for some reason or the other I have a disagreement, I could rack up and pack up and go down the street and work somewhere else. And I don't have to put up with nothing, right? Now, yes, what I mean by that is there's some degree of acceptance you have to have in your daily life and humbleness you should have. I agree with that. I'm not disputing that at all. What I'm trying to say is don't ever be in a position where somebody, especially the government, have leverage over you. Because it's not nice to be in a position where somebody crack a whip and you have to bend down and take it. How will that look for your children? How will that look for your community? How will that be for yourself? I don't ever want to be there, man. Now, if I have to be humble in service to something higher than myself, yes, I'm not disputing that. But I will not allow myself to get to that point. And please, God, you're hearing me. Give me the strength and the courage to push through what's coming because I know what's coming. For me too. That's all I have to say. So when I saw this thing happen with Trump today, I say, oh God, we down to the wire. We coming down to it. First they banned the man. Now they raid the house. Then they tried to put him in court for January 6th. Then they tried to, you name it. The list kept going on. And no matter what they throw at this man, it has sticking. Legally, it can't stick. Because they have nothing. It's just theater, show. Midterm elections coming up. So they need to put as much negative things they could put on this man as possible. Right? So that's just my take on it. That's my 2 cents, right? Then this lady now, the lady in the Speaker of the House, who I think is the one really running this country because Joe Biden not running nothing. That man sleeping somewhere in our basement, right? He just they come on the TV for a little show thing and he go show. But Nancy Pelosi, I think, running the show. She jump on a plane and she go on Taiwan just the other day to find out about she investments with Nvidia microchips. By the way, if you're buying stocks right now, you probably want to buy whatever stock she buying because she just dumped all her Apple stock and she just dumped all her Visa stock and she put all her money on Nvidia. For those of you who don't know what Nvidia is, that's they make graphic cards and they make microchips and stuff like that. She just dumped all her money into that a few days ago. So if you looking to invest, you better follow the money. Follow what she invested in. Let me tell you, these politicians know exactly what they're doing, man. All of them positioning themselves to make a pong and a krong. And we, the small people over here, catching our nene and catching our backside to make $1 every day. And these people are in positions of power. They could see all the deals that they are writing and making every day, all the policies that they're implementing, and they could make financial decisions to better their lives. Well, I guess we have to do the same thing now. I go and see if I could buy some Nvidia stock just now when I finish this stream, this live. Because I looking to make some money too. What do you ask? These politicians alone gonna do it? So that was I say, man, is like I don't know, everybody, we have to survive out there, man, and we have to educate each other, we have to help each other, and we have to understand what's going on globally. This is not an individual thing that's just happening in America, you know. This is a global effort to destroy the entire global economy in order to rebuild it into a digital economy where everybody will have to fall in line in order to use their newfound money. You all understand the game, understand what's happening and unfolding right now. They're gonna start, they're already doing it. It have certain things I can't find here or can't buy here. It have shortages already. Certain components, certain types of foods, certain things, these shortages are real. They're fake. They're creating it on purpose, but it's there. You understand? Anyway, I enough on my high horse tonight. I think I talk about enough already tonight. Let's see what I can listen to before I wrap up the evening. The Fall Guy. FBI raid, yeah, that is old news to me now. She she agreed to resign now. What going on right now, Dread? What going on right now? This breaking news?
We have a Fox News alert. Good evening and welcome to Tucker Carlson tonight. I am Will Kane in for Tucker. We begin with this Fox News alert. A little over 1 hour ago, we learned that the Biden administration raided the home of the former president, Donald Trump, in Palm Beach, Florida. Donald Trump announced the raid in a statement, and Fox News has confirmed that the raid occurred. Quote, "These are dark times for our nation," said the former president, "as my beautiful home, MarALargo, in Palm Beach, Florida, is currently under siege, raided and occupied by a large group of FBI agents." Trump wrote, "Nothing like this has ever happened to a president of the United States before." Trump said the raid, which was unannounced, amounts to, quote, "prosecutorial misconduct, the weaponization of the justice system, and an attack by..."
They're not new. We know about that in other countries, but anyway, we get ready to ride out. I have a job to go to now. To go to work. I work on call. So let me see what that for. I just got a ticket coming. In the meantime, let me see if I could find some kind of music or something to play here. Probably finish off with maybe this song. Casino this hour. I gotta run and fix the casino this hour. Alright. Keshiva, if you're still there, thanks for watching. Anybody who came by, thank you for listening. I appreciate it. And this is me just kind of practicing my lives. I'm gonna continue to do this every night until I get my practice done, until I develop a following, and go from there. What's going on, boy? Machine coming in like that. 305, next machine coming. What's going on, boy? Miscellaneous other, not specifying what the problem is. Usually just give a description in the phone, like what the problem with the ATM is before you go, but I'm not getting a proper description. It's just saying miscellaneous. So, but the two of them coming in for the casino, which is in one location, so I could just kind of walk around and see what's going on. So let me go do that. You know, man, today was a long day, man. Today I drive about 2.5 hours north, spend an hour up there, drive about 2.5 hours down, and I was just tired, man. Then I went to a call right after that, and I come home. I just tried to relax a little bit, and unfortunately, the job I have is a 24/7 job, so I'm on call 24/7 unless I take vacation. Some days I get lucky, and some days, well, you gotta go do what you gotta do, and that's what discipline means. Sometimes you're not motivated, but you have to discipline yourself to go do what you gotta do because you have obligations. You have to pay the mortgage, you have to pay the lights, you gotta do what you gotta do. That means taking sacrifice, you know? So it is what it is. We all gotta do what we gotta do. Anyway, thanks for listening in. I appreciate it. I'll leave you guys now for the night. You all have a good night. Sleep well. And let me go ahead and close off for the evening. And thanks for tuning in, guys.